Well,
3 minutes, Deputy.
thank you. I understand why the property tax has been designed in this way. It is perhaps the most efficient and effective way to collect the tax, and that is what revenue is concerned about. I understand that, but I'm afraid I do not agree with it. Looking at it from a perspective that would be different from revenues, from the point of view of reforming local government, from the point of view of introducing local service charges for households, and thus shifting some of the burden from local businesses, from the point of view of bridging the democratic deficit at the local level, and yes, from an urban perspective, I would not have designed the tax in this way. But I will fully admit that I have not been able to design myself a property tax that would meet all of the necessary requirements. I would note the proposals put forward by the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, in particular their idea of banding rural and urban properties together. No one likes paying taxes, but they are an essential element of the social contract. And it is important to recognise some truths in this matter, even though they might not fit with the agenda that some are trying to promote in public law. In this economy in Ireland, those who earn more pay more, and that is how it should be. We have a bigger social transfer of wealth in this country than any other European country, from the higher paid to the lower paid, and we achieve this through income tax. I do not believe that we should now be trying to implement a fiscal transfer from urban areas to rural areas through a national property tax, as I believe it undermines what is already being achieved through income taxes, and I believe it to be a danger to social cohesion and also to be unfair. While we want property prices in general to rise so that some of those in negative equity can be lifted out of it, we do not want to return to the mentality of the past, where booming property prices were seen as a sign of progress, and where the property market was taken as an indicator of economic and general prosperity. There is a risk that levying this tax on the perceived value of the property as per market forces may do just that. And there is a further risk in relying on a tax designed in this way as a stable source of revenue, as we did in the boom years, because it will be pro-cyclical and a recession will lead to a double impact on declining government revenues, as happened here so recently. As to some of the particulars in the tax itself, I do believe that we should attempt in some way to take into account people who paid stamp duty in recent years. I think this is only fair, given the significant amounts paid. In relation to the concept of the mansion tax, I do not believe this additional levy to be justified at all. It's not based on the size of the property or its state of repair. It is a notional thing, a penalty that has no real economic justification. It is grossly unfair to people living in Dublin, who may be paying much more than people living outside of the capital for a far smaller property. And I believe this applies also to the lower levy itself and not just the mansion tax. As for deferrals and exemptions, I think more work needs to be done here. I do support Deputy Lawler's amendment to the bill concerning executors of wills. As for occupiers, I believe they should bear part of the burden and not just the owner. Minister, we have corresponded on this issue on a number of occasions this year, and you know where I stand on the matter. You have the responsibility here, and I will support you in your decision. At the same time, I will continue to work constructively to try and address some of the issues that I have with the current design before the tax is introduced. And once the tax has come in and has settled, I believe we should then move immediately to reform this national property tax into a proper local services charge, raised locally and administered by local authorities, that reflects the real costs of providing those services for the people who use them. Thank you.
Thank you.